So I've been thinking for a while I need to build myself a new forge. The one I've had, to be fair, it's lasted me alright, but it is as cheap as it comes, so I think at this point I need to consider investing a little bit more if I want to continue this hobby. See, the problem is, this is literally a baking tray with a hole drilled in the end. But to be perfectly honest, it's definitely seen better days. That's just from use. So yeah, I think it's about time for an upgrade. I'm going to try and make my own. It's not going to be anything special or anything, but it'll be better than this. Okay, so I've got myself a plan. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to be using fire bricks. 2 on either side, 1 at either end. The idea here is that I'll be able to sort of feed longer bits of metal through if I want to heat up larger pieces. I'm going to need to get some sheet steel behind these to sort of help support them, and also again sort of try and contain, I need some basic sort of box structure in order to build this. And I think what I'm going to do is, rather than have fire bricks at the bottom of that, I'm going to try and follow a guide I saw on YouTube where somebody made their own refractory cement using play sand and plaster of Paris, and they build this kind of trough idea. And then you get a piece of pipe, which you lay underneath with a slot cut in the side, and from there you have it connected to your airflow, your power input, which obviously then sort of blows out into the coals and should create a nice hot fire pit here, which is well insulated. What I might do instead of put these bricks at either end is I might just build up the refractory cement up the sides, and then use the 2 spare bricks as a roof to obviously help with the insulation, and that would also help if I want to feed things through. It will keep a nice sort of even heat around all the metal. So that's the rough idea I've got. Whether it works, I have no idea. This is going to be very much an experiment. There's a lot of things here I haven't done. I'm going to need to weld the steel, which I've never used a welder in my life, so I'm going to have to buy one of those as well. So it's an experiment. I might have gotten a little bit carried away with my drawing, and Jesus, slightly forgotten I put a pizza in the oven. Well, at least I learned how to forge a pizza. Luckily, I have another. The good news is, in steel-wise, I don't need anything particularly posh. Just mild steel will do, 4mm thick, and it's dirt cheap for pretty decent slabs. So it's considerably cheaper than the O1 tool steel I've been using to actually sort of make my blades and stuff, so that's nice. I like saving money. I'm also pleasantly surprised at the price of these fire bricks, about 15 quid. For 6? Yeah, a pack of 6. Which actually isn't that bad, and they're rated up to 1300 degrees, which is actually a bit excessive. And these should be the correct measurements as well, so again, in theory it sounds like it should all go together, but I have no idea. Here's hoping. Right, I've finally got around to ordering everything I think I'll need. So I've got my, hopefully, refractory mix and rebar for making stuff. The welder, which I got dirt cheap, so I've no idea if it's any good. Borax, which is used, and most importantly, perfume for the missus, because otherwise I'm going to be in deep shit. But whilst I was actually looking, I came across this little beauty, which was an anvil, which, for that price, trust me, is absolutely nothing. So, yeah, I might have been a bit silly and possibly bought a very heavy thing. I regret nothing. I've wanted an anvil for ages. Yeah, that's what I thought. You better be cooking properly. Treasure has arrived. And I think it's the welder. Which is cool, because I've got no idea what I'm doing. That feels like electrodes, and that certainly does look a little bit like a stick welder. God, it's tiny. Happy days. No. Colin got myself an anvil, and Dash got some eggs. For free.
Yeah. I like old watching us, by the way.
Result.
Da 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 da.
More treasure has arrived. I like treasure. Oh yeah. I'm trying this on straight away.
Hell yes.
Yes, metal has arrived, I hope. It's the only thing I can think that this would be. Da. So, what you're about to see is my first ever attempt at welding. I kind of forgot to do an intro to the video. I mean, I don't know a lot about welds, but for a first ever attempt, I don't think that's done too badly. There's a few little shitty bits, but overall, I don't think that's bad. That side, not so good. I think, to be honest, partially because I'm very impatient, and partially because I've only got so many hours of daylight and only so much time free, I'm just going to go straight for the cutting, and then I'll probably just try welding. Just give it a go, see what happens. If I mess it up, I've only got myself to blame. I think I've just about got this to the right angle. Out there. Oh, I might need to go a little bit more actually. It's not far, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some welds to reinforce along here. There you go, there's one part of it done and welded. I'll be honest, it's not great, but for a first ever attempt at welding anything, I don't think it's too bad. There's definitely, that bit's a bit shit, but do you know what I mean? It's bloody strong and it isn't going anywhere. There we go, that's it now with the sides just tacked in place. It's getting there, slowly. So, things I've learned on this project so far. I'm a terrible welder. Like, really bad. I mean, actually, that said, that's probably the best one. But it's not good. But you know, first attempt and all that, and to be fair, it's probably not really going to matter, because it's all going to be held in place with the refractory cement anyway, but there we go. So, by happy coincidence, I've discovered that rather than have to go 2 on the side, I can go 1.5, and that is pretty much bang on level. It'll certainly be close enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this brick in half and then save myself one, which I can then decide what to do with. Plan now is to do that and then drill with the hole saw for the pipe to go in somewhere. Oh man, that took so long. I tried using saws but just no hope, so I had to use an angle grinder disc. That was brand new, it was about half the size. Definitely not what it's meant for, but it did the job. So, I've decided that the roof idea is better than having 2 on the side, so what I'm doing is I've fabricated this bit of metal, and I'm going to put 2 of the fire bricks in it, and then I might have a couple of bits of rebar running just to hold it in place. Not quite sure yet. But filing down a brick is a very good way to ruin a file. Oh well. Okay, so I managed to get the bricks inside that bit of metal, and they're pretty firm. What I'm planning to do is just take bits of rebar, cutting them down to size, and then I'm going to weld them either to the outside or to the underside, and then I'm just cutting a chunk out so I can put a corner on it, and hopefully that should sort of pin it in, and then I'll just weld it back to there. Is the plan. Okay, so I've now cut out my 4 prongs and I'm welding them onto the lid. This side's already done, so just sorting this out, and then it's just a case of sticking a handle on it, and it should be done. And there we are, lid is complete. Actually came out pretty well, all things considered, made out of scrap. But yeah, there we go. So I'm still waiting for the pipe to arrive for the actual forge. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to try and make a stand for it. I'm going to divide this one up into 3, and that will go around 3 sides of the bottom of the forge. And then I'm going to have 4 legs obviously coming down. Might be able to put some casters on the bottom just to make it easier for moving around. So that's the project for today now. There we go. There it is with the base legs rolled off. So now I've just got to actually figure out how to do the legs and make them strong enough to hold this thing up. So this is my simple solution to an otherwise probably relatively complicated equation. Rather than having to try and figure out all the angles properly with a protractor and stuff, I'm actually going to use this paving slab it's on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the top, make sure it's in line with it, and I'm going to centre it, and then I'm just going to follow it down until the legs meet up with either corner. And then where the sort of line between the 2 tiles is, I'll probably put a bit of rebar to reinforce. And then just do that on the other side as well. That's the plan. Whether it works, we shall see. Hopefully not oversimplifying. So this has worked out surprisingly easily. There's the centre point on there, and then I've just marked the centre point on the stone. So what in theory I have to do is just line those up, and then just straighten it against the face of the stone, and we are... sorry, trying to do this one-handed is difficult. That should be pretty central once I've lined that up. I'll do it off camera, it'd be easier. There we go, with 2 of the legs are on. It's actually quite impressive how strong these welds are. I mean, don't get me wrong, my welds are crap. That's a pretty hefty bit of iron, and that's not budging. Right, next 2. It's alive. Well, it's standing. All 4 legs done. And amazingly, my simple way of measuring has actually created an incredibly stable base. So that is not going anywhere. Very happy with how that turned out. What I've done now is I've cut out these 4 struts, and they're going to get welded on each 4 sides, just to add a bit of stability to this thing. Toasty weld. There we go. That's it now with the supports welded on. See what that looks like standing up. And there we go. Standing sound and proud, and still pretty bloody steady. The last bit I want to do is with the piece of metal I used for my first ever weld. I just want to stick a bit on the underside here, probably only coming up to sort of about here, and I will explain why. So this is what I've been using up until now as my air supply. It's just a little camp bed inflator with a tap on it, so that I can basically adjust the flow as I wish. What I'm going to do is, once I've got the new piece of pipe that fits inside, I'm going to obviously have it coming out of here, and then I've bought a few of these little connectors. What I want to do is I want to have it coming round here, another one here, and then I want it to balance on that perch. So this whole part, if I can get it, sorry, this whole part will be sort of mounted down the side here. I'll probably have to shorten up a few of the bits of pipe, but that's the plan, and then it's kind of self-contained. disassemble the old. There we go. And reassemble the new. This is going to be a very difficult one-handed. There we go. Just got to do the same on the other end now. There we go. There's the new. Let's see if it fits. So I'll connect to that pipe. It looks about spot on. Happy days. Yeah, and that's worked. So I've still got the pump coming in the side there, through the tap, and then when the new pipe arrives that'll be going straight through there, feeding air into the bottom of the coals. I'll probably just strap that bit down. It's, yeah, didn't see that one coming. Well, the good news is the pipe's finally arrived. It took long enough, but it's finally here. So the plan now is we'll be inserting it through there, and putting a line, cutting a line through it, probably pretty much where that text is. What I'm also thinking I might do is I might put another 90-degree bend in the end and have it come out in a hole through the bottom as a bit of an ash chute. Then I can do some form of lid on the end to close it and open it when I want. But it's a nice thick tube, which is what I need, because otherwise it will melt. So that's the plan for today. And then we've just got to get the refractory in. There we go. So the tube is now in. Next step is to cut a thin groove between these two dots, where the air comes out, and then this 90-degree bend obviously comes through to underneath. And then I'm going to trim this part down, and with the spare bit, that'll be my my ash chute, all coming together. There we go, all done. Now I've just got to line it up and fit it in. Giggity. There we go, all fitted up, and with the chute coming out, actually looks alright. Just got to get it dead straight. For fuck's sake. I've had to bring it indoors because it is absolutely freezing outside. It's got to the stage where even in here you can actually see my breath. But there we go, this is it now. All fitted up. Alright, a little bit wonky, just needs a bit of tightening. But last stage is just to get the refractory in and figure out how the hell I'm supposed to mix that up. Okay. Now, from what I gather, it's a 50-50 mix of the plaster of Paris and the play sand. And then you kind of just mix it with, well, as much water as required really, whatever the hell that means. But, okay, here we go. So this is the 50-50 mix of the plaster of Paris and the sand here. It's quite a weird consistency because it does sort of stick, but it also just, I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, you can definitely feel the sand in it, so that's good. So in theory now, we just add some water until it turns sloppy. This stuff feels really weird. Pretty grim actually, but there we go. You can see now why they're calling it bloody cement. So I'll chuck that in, and I'll grab one of our half bricks. Pop that in there as well. Hopefully that will sort of set with any luck. There we go. That took a lot longer than expected. This stuff sets really quickly. I didn't realise, so I made a big old bucket of it, and half of it bloody stuck to it. So it took 2 or 3 attempts to get all of that filled up to the top. But it's okay, and now I've just got to leave it for, I think, about 48 hours to cure completely. And then we'll set just a little fire in it and test it out. And there she is, in all her glory. That is now finished. just got to wait for the refractory cement to cure, and just need to give her a test. The only thing I might need to change is possibly that pump. I might need to upgrade it to something like a hairdryer just to make it a bit stronger, but we shall see. Change of plan. That other fire brick I have, I've decided to attach that to the back as well. There was just a little bit too much air escaping, and I figured it will lose quite a lot of heat through that. And I've also just redone the refractory a bit, just brought a bit more in here and brought up on the sides, either here and here. Now all I'm going to do is, I think it's pretty much cured, so I'm going to just start a small fire. I'm not going to get it hot, but just hot enough to get rid of any extra moisture and burn out that bit of cardboard. Here we go. Let's go and get the lid for it. Time for an upgrade. I spent a whole £7 on this hairdryer. Not bad, really. See, the air pump wasn't really powerful enough to clear the pipe if it got clogged up with ash, so I've upgraded to this. Get me that. Which is just a little travel hairdryer, which I quite like, because not only is it going to be more powerful than the air pump, but it's got this pretty funky little folding handle, which will be quite nice, because I can literally just have the thing strapped down on that platform with the handle kind of out the way, and then I've got two speed controls, so I've got now the tap and this to control my airflow, which can't really ask for more than that. And hopefully, because I'm gonna try and adapt it through here, so I'll put the hairdryer in this end and then actually kind of connect to the pump. And I wasn't quite sure if it would build up too much pressure and maybe burn out the motor, but I think if I've got it on the lower setting it should be okay. We'll see. Bloody plastic ain't easy to cut, even with work tough cuts. There you go, that's the funnel, and it actually, by pure luck, fits perfectly on the end. I'll probably just put a little bit of duct tape on there, but I mean, as coincidences go, that's perfect. Suits me fine. Ooh, tell you what, it blows out some heat. Perfect. The next bit I've got is I've bought a little valve just to put on the ash chute. So that'll be my open close, nice and easy. It saves me having to do any more welding. Right, so the hairdryer is now installed. This fits quite nicely in, so all I've got to do is wedge it, so I can take it on and off if it rains outside. I've tightened up all the piping, so that's not going anywhere, and I have installed the valve underneath, which is currently closed. So that shouldn't allow any air through. So the only air outlet will be in the middle here. So all that's left to do now is test it. And it's died. Brilliant. So it turns out this thing's got a safety cut-off when it overheats, and I think just where this end is too narrow, it's overheating it. But it does have a little mesh inside, so I'll try cutting that out. Because even though it's not much, that might be enough just to retain the heat, which is causing that thing to flick itself off. So hopefully that can then work. I've got this fully open, so that shouldn't cause any backlash. It might just be that it doesn't work, and I might just have to go back to the air pump, in which case, so be it. So unfortunately, as it transpires, my brilliant idea was not so brilliant. It's fine running on its own, but as soon as you get it too close, the peripheral resistance is just too strong in the pipes. Which is a shame, because it was a good air current. But yeah, literally after a few seconds it cuts out. I didn't do that. So out with the new and back with the old. Never mind. Well, there we go. Back with the old pump, which actually, having retested, it's actually probably a little bit stronger than the hairdryer anyway, so that's a disappointment. Not too disappointing, but yeah, it works. Right, I suppose really I should take it back outside and try forging something with it.